1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley.
And I'm Compton Mayor Emma Sharif.
You have no doubt been hearing promos and expert conversations on our various weekday shows and downloading details at KBLA1580.com about our climate justice campaign, which is now in full effect.
The city of Compton is pleased to partner with KBLA Talk 1580 to celebrate Earth Day 2024 as we serve, share, and help our city shine.
And KBLA Talk 1580 is just as excited to join the city of Compton as we broadcast live and bring our KBLA delegation with us to help clean and beautify our community, and you are invited to join us.
Come meet us on Saturday, April the 20th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at 212 West Cypress Street in Compton as we fan out to clean up our city.
The first 50 KBLA listeners to hit our website at KBLA1580.com will receive a free KBLA tee when you join us on Saturday morning, April 20th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at 212 West Cypress Street in Compton. Now, no show, no shirt, but sign up at KBLA1580.com right now to help us clean up Compton as part of Earth Day 2024.
We will see you on Saturday, April the 20th, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at 212 West Cypress Street in the city of Compton to do our part for Earth Day 2024.
We are KBLA Talk 1580, caring about the climate, caring about the community, cleaning up Compton.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see.
All right. This is Areva Martin in real time, and I'm your guest host, Angelique Francis of Living in the Sweet Spot. That comes on Saturday and Sunday right here on KBLA, Talk 1580. I'm sitting in today for Areva Martin on your one-stop destination for today's trending news. Let's get at it. Regarding the war in Gaza, the death of World Central Kitchen, workers pushed the number of aid employees killed during the war in Gaza to at least 196. The deadly Israeli strikes is also setting back attempts to address the hunger crisis in the Gaza Strip, with aid groups saying they are now being more cautious about making deliveries and have suspended at least 2 operations. World Central Kitchen itself stopped its work in Gaza and sent 3 ships with several hundred tons of food back to the ports in Cyprus. Well, since 2017, dozens of states have enacted more than 110 laws and policies reshaping the teaching of racism, and sexual orientation and gender identity. These new rules now affect over 3/4 of the nation's students and how they learn about topics ranging from the role of slavery in American history, the lives of non-binary people, and much more. Now, since the late 2010 and to 2021, the focus on how schools can teach about race and racism and the nation's racial history has changed. But now the target of this curriculum laws have now shifted over time to include determining how and what teachers can even discuss, or whether they can even have conversations discussing gender identity, sexual orientation with their students. The University of Texas at Austin is laying off dozens of employees who previously worked in diversity, equity, and inclusion roles in response to state law that banned such programs. According to Texas chapter of American Association of University of Professors, the employees had previously worked in D&I roles have now been laid off as of notices on Tuesday. They came months after the university had reassigned them from those positions to comply with legislations, which went into effect on January 1. The school declined to provide specific tallies of those numbers of the people that were affected. Through the AAUP, said 60 is just a conservative estimate. The layoffs came days after conservative state legislatures warned that state universities must comply with the law ban DEI officers on those campuses, known as Senate Bill 17. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid have now identified that giving chemotherapy within 2 weeks of expected death is now poor quality indicators that may adversely affect payment to hospitals. As consequences, cancer doctors are discouraged from actually allowing treatment to patients that are at the end of their life, and now they can get in trouble for administering these end of life chemo treatments at the end of life within 2 weeks. Some studies show that oncologists are notorious for always being willing to recommend to patients one more course of treatment, even though the chances of success are hopelessly negligible. In addition, Beyonce's Blackbird cover awakens so much more to the Little Rock 9 members. One says that when Melba Pattillo-Beals heard Beyonce sing a line from the Beatles' song Blackbird on her new album last week, she was transported back to the morning of September 1957 when she and 8 other little black students arrived at an all-white Arkansas school. The 82-year-old who lives in San Francisco said hearing Beyonce's rendition brought new meaning to those lyrics. As Bill streamed the song that was released on Friday on Beyonce's new album, Cowboy Carter, we played that at the beginning of this broadcast, she felt empowered knowing that nearly 67 years later, she indeed helped desegregate schools. Also, Afrobeats musician Davido is seeking legal action against a media outlet that published a fake news story on April Fool's Day, claiming that he had been detained after a cocaine haul was found in a private jet. The article was published on April 1st by K24, a TV station in Kenya. The report falsely claimed that the 3-time Grammy nominee was apprehended by Narcotics Police Unit. Well, yeah, not so funny on April 1. Well, let me just say this is Areva Martin in real time, and I'm your host, Angelique Francis, living in the sweet spot, sitting in for today for Areva Martin. This is your one-stop destination for today's trending news, expert analysis, and my unfiltered opinions today. I will be joined this first hour by Dr. Nee Corte, and I'm excited about that. He is the KBLA National Political Affairs Analyst and host of A More Perfect Union on KBLA weekdays at 1 p.m. In hour 2, we're going to be joined by a wonderful author. We're going to hear more about her story, and I'm excited about that. And she is the author of Daddy's House, Mildred Mills. Daddy's House is a raw and poignant memoir of a daughter's journey from a difficult upbringing in rural Alabama to fulfill a life as a wife, a mother, with a successful career far beyond the limitations of upbringing. Mildred Mills describes an unimaginable high, of a life as a fashion model, beautiful pageant winner, a corporate American executive. But she talks about having lived and survived gang rape and just all that she had to survive. We're going to hear more about her story. I'm looking forward to that. But this is one interview that you don't want to miss, so stick around for hour 2. Later, we're gonna do all of that. But I want to tell you a little bit about what I'm thinking and what I'm bringing forward in real time. So check this story out. Later this month, the Supreme Court will be considering whether or not to hear an appeal on a case involving Brenda Andrews. You may or may not have heard about this, who was convicted of a first-degree murder for conspiring with her lover to kill her husband. The issue turns out it was a sex-shaming conversation and how women in the criminal justice system have been treated differently than men. I'm going to ask you to weigh in on this, Andy. Throughout the criminal trial, however, the prosecuting attorney focused a lot on her sexual and intimate partnership. And as far as to hold up in the middle of the trial a pair of her panties. During closing arguments, Natalie Greenfield, one of Miss Andrews' lawyers, said that the gender stereotypes that were present during this trial, especially the closing arguments, infected the trial and poisoned the jury's decision. So every single day, the state was presented with gendered evidence, is what she called it, about her appearance, about her clothing, about her sexual practices, about her skills, about her mothering style. She said that we've got someone who's at risk of being executed for not conforming to gender stereotypes. She said, from a former federal judge, they said, and others said, the volume of prejudice evidenced was portrayed in these hypersexual. She was portrayed as a seductress. She was portrayed as a sexy sexual being throughout the trial. The brief included lurid details of her multiple affairs, her sexual and suggested clothing and her lingerie, her cleavage, and her book on how to drive a man crazy and wild in bed. So, Miss Andrews' boyfriend, by the way, James Pavitt, who admittedly was the shooter of the husband and said that he had acted alone. The prosecutor argued, however, that there was reason to think that Miss Andrews was involved in part of the plot to obtain the proceeds from the life insurance policy, and that the authorities charged both of them for capital murder. So Mr. Pavitt was also sentenced to death, and that he is scheduled to be executed in July. So legal experts are now going to the dissenting court, said that the male defendant would not have been treated the same way that Miss Andrews had been treated. It's inconceivable that the prosecution would dangle his favorite pair of boxers in front of the jury. And they argued to prove their guilt. So that's what we're gonna follow this case. Areva's gonna take it from here, but I'm just presenting that. And I think it was an interesting conversation, and I think I would like to, hear more about this. This focus portrays Miss Andrews as a scarlet woman, if you will, a modern Jezebel, sparking this whole discussion and really to create like this distrust on her loose morals. I mean, really, is there proof that she had anything to do with the murder? I mean, the guy who was found guilty of the murder said that she had nothing to do with it. The drumbeat on Miss Andrews' sex life continues to be part of the closing arguments, right? So Miss Babcock said a male defendant would not have been treated this way. So we're going to wait to see. What are you thinking, Andy? Would your draws have part of this?
Man, that was a lot.
That was a lot.
That was a lot. I really don't know. I don't know. That's a controversial situation right there. That was a lot to digest. I don't know. I would have to sleep on that or, read a little bit more about that.
Well, Areva sent me this story. She said, God, I think this might be something you might want to discuss. I was like, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. But, it's true how they have treated people, whether, especially in front of this jury. They repeatedly brought that up. I think that was over the mark, right? You bring in someone's lingerie and repeatedly talking about her sexual prowess or how she presents herself in court. I mean, what does it have to do with the evidence?
I mean, I don't know. Dr. Nee may know a little bit more about this, but, in the courtroom, you're gonna need whatever type of evidence that you need. So, sometimes you got to go to the abyss to, defend your case.
Oh, okay, well, we're going to see. We're going to bring Dr. Nee into this conversation. When we come forward, today's trending news with one of our KBLA finest. Dr. Nee's going to stay with us. He's going to be in this first hour. You are listening to Areva Martin in real time. I'm your host, Angelique Francis, for the day only, but I'm happy to be sitting in when we come forward. This is KBLA Talk 1580.
She's the real deal in real time. You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
We must understand the politics of our community, and we must know what politics is supposed to produce.
This election year, KBLA Talk 1580 is the place for politics, unapologetically progressive politics. And we've got two of the best and brightest to help you cut through all the noise. Weekdays at 1 p.m., it's A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nee Cordelai-Corte. And at 4 p.m., it's Areva Martin in real time. He's the university professor and distinguished member of the White House Correspondents Association. She's a best-selling author and Harvard-trained civil rights lawyer. And they are both here every day to help guide you through all the this year, because you know it's going to get deep. Get your politics on weekday afternoons at 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. with A More Perfect Union, hosted by Dr. Nee Cordelai-Corte and Areva Martin in real time, only on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your flag.
Your floors can go from clean to dirty fast. From juice spills, whoops, to muddy paw prints, to little sticky finger marks. Good thing your Swiffer WetJet works fast too. Swiffer WetJet easily cleans everyday messes as quick as they happen. The next mess is right around the corner. So grab your Swiffer WetJet and just spray, push, all clean.
Did you know one of the best investments you can make? It's in yourself. At My Computer Career, in just a few months, you can start your new career in the high-demand, recession-resistant field of information technology. Isn't it time you invest in you and start a career in networking, cybersecurity, AI, or upskill to boost your current IT career? So get the ROI you deserve at My Computer Career, no experience necessary. Start now at mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill. Environmental justice is racial justice. Environmental justice is social justice. This is KBLA Talk 1580.
LADWP is proud to partner with KBLA to share with you how to start the new year without bill worries. We're here to help if you're behind on your bill or need help staying current. Sign up anytime online for Level Pay to set predictable monthly payments throughout the year, including for past due amounts. You can also check out the special extended pay arrangements of up to 48 months to help pay down your bill. If you're a senior or income qualified, you may be eligible for Easy Save to receive discounts and also qualify for free and discounted energy and water saving devices. You can get up to $15,000 for past due water and or sewer bills and up to $3,000 for electric bills. But you gotta act fast. Funding is limited. You can reduce your past due bills and kick off the year right, because here at LADWP, we're here to help. Visit ladwp.com/cares today and find out more.
The way we spend our time defines who we are. You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, what's happening? Welcome back to Areva Martin in real time. I'm your host today. I'm excited to be here. I'm really excited to be listening and co-hosting with my friend. What's happening, Dr. Nee?
I'm well, Angelique. How are you?
What's happening? I hear you just had a big old birthday.
I did. I turned a big old 40, and I am feeling amazing, feeling great about it.
I love that. I saw some pictures online. I was very excited to see what you were doing and how you were celebrating. That's wonderful.
Yeah, it was really special, and a special shout out to all of our leaders, learners, and listeners that also helped to make it extra special. My mom and auntie came down from the Bay Area, and I had a chance to interview them on the show on Monday. And so I'm feeling good. I'm in the afterglow of turning 40.
I love it. Well, you stay right there. The water is warm. You come on over. Oh, good. So did you hear that that interesting conversation that we started talking about the gender roles even in the courtroom?
I did. I had a chance to listen to a little bit of the conversation, and I think it's just another example of, how things are changing. The world is changing. Expectations are changing based upon, gender and generation. And I think what you shared may be the latest example of that.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. Areva sent me that. I mean, she's traveling, she's on the road, of course, and she sent that over. And she said, "You want to bring that one forward?" And I said, "Why not? Let's go ahead and talk about it." I didn't know the panties and the boxers were going to be the, especially in a murder trial. I didn't understand why that was going to be some, topic of conversation. But isn't that amazing? Because that was really an indicator of how they set the tone and how they painted this woman to be her character, right? They really questioned her character and created the Jezebel, character.
Yeah, and those racial tropes are out there, and we see so many examples of character assassination, not just in the courtroom, but we see it in media all the time, where, just because somebody's wearing a certain article of clothing or just because somebody has a certain identity, there are folks that peddle in, ideas of who that person is and what they're capable of. And so, I think it's important for us to be cognizant, to be aware, of how that works, not just in a courtroom, but how it works in your workplace, how it works in, relationships that are important to us.
Oh, no, absolutely. In some of there's a couple of hot topics that were discussed, obviously, in the beginning of this broadcast, but even in the D&I work that I've done, I mean, how the media will do a slant. We did a study on, we went back to even look at some of the news media and some of the articles that were written back. If we could just go back to Katrina, how the news was written and how it was characterized. Like when you saw someone who was trying to get, looting, right? If they were white looters, it was, the family was trying to find means and, trying to save their family and find means. But if they were black looters, the news said, well, they were stealing and looting and, robbing the store. So just all of those, right? And it was the same day, the same store, the same media outlet, right? Just how do you perceive and what do you put in the news and how are we then swayed and how do we what do we walk away with, right? What do we walk away with?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, not too long ago I co-anchored Fox Soul's Black Report, which was a daily news program that took viewers on a journey across Black America. And it centered Black voices and Black subject matter experts, Black officials. And that was a radical idea to create a news program that did that. It's certainly not the only one. Our chief visionary officer and owner of KBLA, Talk 1580, Tavis Smiley, that's a big part of his legacy over the years, right? Is amplifying Black voices, making Black Lives Matter in the media. And, that's not for the faint of heart, especially in this era that we live in where we see lots of misinformation and disinformation out there, where media literacy is all the more important now, maybe more important than it's ever been, because we're inundated by media all day, every day. It's important that when we are exposed to Black stories and to Black subjects, to Black victims, to Black survivors, that, we are able to look at their humanity very clearly and not in a distorted lens. Mm-hmm. There are plenty of people out there that are in the business of us seeing each other in a distorted lens. And that's part of the reason why this platform, KBLA Talk 1580, is so important terms of not just pushing back, but offering up, news, views, opinions, and perspectives that help to balance out some of the polluted ideas that are out there in the atmosphere.
No, absolutely. And we look at it every day in terms of race. But what I thought was interesting about this particular story that people are going to look at, I mean, this guy is on this one convicted murderer is on death row in July. And then you've got the woman who, is even the judge is saying, yes, this has been a repeated problem in this particular case. So now we're looking, you're an advocate and an ally for LGBTQ in particular rights and many other rights. And so it is an evident problem with race, but this is also pervasive in that community, right? Whether it's gender rights and transgender rights, and I'm an ally and an advocate as well. And so, what are some of these problems that you are seeing that are pervasive in that community? That how people summarize and what people think and believe about that community that is just more damaging and more limiting?
Well, I think the first misperception that people have of folks in the LGBTQ community is they think that the community is filled with folks like Ellen DeGeneres and Elton John that are very wealthy.
Wow.
Very wealthy individuals. Mm-hmm. And the reality is that, most LGBTQ people are not. There are a number of folks that are at or below the poverty line. We know that LGBTQ folks at large are typically at risk for employment discrimination. Mm-hmm. We know that right now in this country, we've yet to pass the Equality Act. And the Equality Act would provide, federal protection for LGBTQ people from all sorts of different discrimination. And so short of that, there are so many LGBTQ folks that are at risk each and every day of, losing their housing, losing their employment, of losing their family recognition. Think about how many adopted LGBTQ parents there are out there. And so I could go on and on and
Absolutely.
on.
And Dr. Nee, this is a great conversation because I do want to dispel some of these myths. When we come forward, we're going to do just that. Remember, you guys, we are listening. This is Areva Martin in real time, and I'm your host, Angelique Fesses. We got Dr. Nee when we come forward.
Areva time is the right time. More of Areva Martin in real time when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. The King family is gathering for the anniversary of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s death. This year marks the 56th anniversary of King's assassination. The family continues their tradition of placing a wreath at the crypt where Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King are buried. The wreath-laying ceremony is one of several observances of King's death that will take place this week. Other events include a candlelight observance at historic Ebenezer Baptist Church and observances at the King Center. The Detroit Association of Black Organizations is pushing for a ban on menthol cigarettes. They cite data from the FDA that says 85% of black smokers use menthol cigarettes compared to 35% of their white counterparts. The American Lung Association says black men have the highest lung cancer death rate in the U.S. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Crews getting on scene of a crash in Pico on the 605 southbound just after Washington. It's all over to the shoulder, but it did cause some delays starting about Peck Road. Also, your on-ramp from Del Amo to the 710 southbound, a crash has that on-ramp closed down for right now, so that's going to be closed down until further notice. They did wrap up a stall in Carson on the 405 southbound right before Alameda, so that's out of the way, but overall, still seeing some delays from the 105. Redondo Beach, if you're taking the Inglewood Avenue on-ramp to the 405 northbound, there is a crash partially blocking your on-ramp.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate, not one based on anyone else. So if you drive safely, you could save money. Good to know. Visit allstate.com or call for a quote today.
Is this the dagger? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Clippers will not have Kawhi Leonard for tonight's game against the Denver Nuggets at Crypto.com. Leonard is still dealing with soreness in his right knee. It's the same knee that required ACL surgery in 2021. Dawn Staley of South Carolina was named AP Women's College Basketball Coach of the Year. South Carolina is 36-0 after losing their entire starting lineup from last year. Staley has led South Carolina to 4 straight Final Fours. South Carolina plays North Carolina State Friday night in Cleveland. UConn and Iowa meet up in the second game. One of our HBCUs is in trouble. St. Augustine University, located in Raleigh, North Carolina, suspended its football program for the 2024 season. Interim President Dr. Marcus Burgess said the school needs between $27 and $30 million to stay open after the spring semester. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley.
And I'm Compton Mayor Emma Sharif.
You have no doubt been hearing promos and expert conversations on our various weekday shows and downloading details at KBLA1580.com about our climate justice campaign, which is now in full effect.
The city of Compton is pleased to partner with KBLA Talk 1580 to celebrate Earth Day 2024 as we serve, share, and help our city shine.
And KBLA Talk 1580 is just as excited to join the city of Compton as we broadcast live and bring our KBLA delegation with us to help clean and beautify our community, and you are invited to join us.
Come meet us on Saturday, April the 20th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at 212 West Cypress Street in Compton as we fan out to clean up our city.
The first 50 KBLA listeners to hit our website at KBLA1580.com will receive a free KBLA tee when you join us on Saturday morning, April 20th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at 212 West Cypress Street in Compton. Now, no show, no shirt, but sign up at KBLA1580.com right now to help us clean up Compton as part of Earth Day 2024.
We will see you on Saturday, April the 20th, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at 212 West Cypress Street in the city of Compton to do our part for Earth Day 2024.
We are KBLA Talk 1580, caring about the climate, caring about the community, cleaning up Compton.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
That was another way. I would smoke once an hour. That didn't work either. All that would happen at some point of the day, I would end up doubling up. Other ways that I tried to quit was I stopped buying cigarettes totally. But if I took 3 puffs off of 15 friends, those didn't count because they weren't my cigarettes and they weren't full cigarettes. I went through a lot.
Every attempt is part of your story to quit for good. Visit Kick It California today at kickitca.org.
It's the celebration of a living legend. It's the Farewell Tour. It's Maze featuring Frankie Bello.
Thank you for the love to the old. Sing to me that joy.
Also featuring the soul icon, Anthony Hamilton. Plus, After 7. It's a Mother's Day celebration, May 12th in the Kia Forum. In commemoration, come in your all white. Get tickets at Ticketmaster. Presented by the Black Promoters Collective. There's no time like the present. Let's get back to more of Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
What's happening? Welcome back. This is Areva Martin in real time. I'm your stand-in host, Angelique Francis from Living in the Sweet Spot. I'm just happy to be here. And I got Dr. Nee is right here in real time. I love you, Dr. Nee. Thank you for being here. And Areva appreciates you too. What's happening?
I love you both. I love you both. Live. I'm joining you live from Washington, D.C., where it is a little chillier than it is in Los Angeles at the moment.
Yeah, but I love DC, so it's all good. I'm hating on you a little bit. I always love being in DC.
And I always love your warmth.
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, listen, I know you had a lot going on. Tell us about. I was tuning into your show earlier. You had a great show today. Tell us about who was on your show earlier.
Yeah, well, earlier today I had a chance to unpack an article that was published by a former speechwriter for Vice President Harris and also a contributor to The Root. And in that article, he wrote about how Tennessee State University, how their board of trustees was wiped out. Was wiped out and replaced by the governor of Tennessee. This is just sort of the latest example of the war on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Of course, for our leaders, learners, listeners paying attention to this, you know that TSU is a historically black college university. They've had a number of very notable alumni, including Oprah Winfrey. The governor of Tennessee was playing politics with members of the board. They use the financial state of the university as an excuse to essentially remove all the members of the board of trustees and replace them with some folks who are MAGA extremists, MAGA sympathizers, right? And so this is one of the latest examples, one of the latest plays, I should say, in the ongoing fight against all things diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so, we dug deep during that show, and I want to remind people they can always subscribe to a More Perfect Union podcast, and they can check out that episode for themselves. But it was a joy having Gavin Reynolds, the former speechwriter for Vice President Harris and contributor to The Root, on the show today.
No, that was a great show. And yeah, my mother-in-law actually went to University of Tennessee. My kids went to Vanderbilt across the way from there. But that was a very informative show. I appreciated that. And then I don't know if you heard the opening. We talked a little bit about University of Texas and the laying off of many of the employees there and how they were refusing to talk about that number. They would not even comment on what that number of layoffs were. Yeah, it's a lot going on. Y'all, we got to really pay attention to what's happening because it is happening quickly. And these are scary times, very scary times.
Yeah, and if this can happen, it's not a coincidence that this is happening in states that are controlled by Republican governors and Republican legislatures. We're talking about Tennessee. We're talking about Texas. We're talking about Florida. A number of states, that are getting rid of they're uprooting offices of diversity, equity, and inclusion. They're getting rid of staff that are advocates for racial justice. Because, again, when we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, Angelique, I think it's important that we don't get lost in the alphabet soup of it all, right? Very similar to when we're talking about LGBTQ. Sometimes people get lost in the alphabet soup of it all. And we forget that this work is about people.
Right.
This work is about racial justice. It's about gender justice. It's about trans justice. It's about justice for people. And it's important that we don't lose sight of that because, there are forces out there that are intent on dividing and conquering. And we have so much to lose because our progress is so fragile. It's so fragile. I mean, think about today. 56 years ago or so, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated on this day in 1968, right? And think about what that meant in terms of the hopes and the dreams and what folks believe was progress, for our people and for our country. And in a second, that progress was set back, not erased, but set back. And so we've got to keep our eye on the prize. We've got to make it our business to continue to advance justice in every form, because social justice is about people. And the moment we allow folks to call us by anything but our name, to call us by anything but being a human or a child of God, then I think we have an even bigger problem on our hands.
No, absolutely. And that is why we started this broadcast, even with, everybody gets caught up in who Beyonce was. And so, she got a new song, but really that new song is a very old song. And that old song is really about the Little Rock 9 members who helped to desegregate schools back in 1957. Today is a very significant day for King and for the civil rights movement, but it's also that song. I'm gonna ask before we go forward. If you don't mind, Andy, let's go ahead and play that song one more time. Had you heard the song, Nee?
I did. I heard Blackbird, and I'm a music aficionado, and so I remember hearing the original by Paul McCartney and the Beatles way back when.
Yeah.
And so I was pleasantly surprised to see Beyonce added to the Cowboy Carter album. And what a time to do that, to remind us that, Beyonce, who was a historic first in her own right, that she understands some of the pain that comes along with that. And what a blessing that one of the Little Rock 9 lived long enough to be celebrated in such a way on an album for the ages.
No, absolutely. It's so important that this generation, and it does my heart well, when my 22-year-old comes and talks to me about, the history of how important it is and why it's important. And then he said, he was so funny last night because I asked him, did he know about the song? Of course, he knew about Beyonce's new song, and then he gave me this whole history of the Beatles, and he says, I don't really understand the whole fantasy and the whole, why a whole generation appreciated the Beatles, these white guys with straight hair, and he went on to this whole thing, and I loved it. I loved having this very interesting conversation. I said, well, I was in the Parliament and Earth, Wind and Fire and the Commodores, but okay. I love that it was message music, and we had this very, very interesting conversation that it was about the war and it was about other things other than their straight hair and and their London and everything else that they looked like. It was really about bucking the system and saying something more significant, and that is what Beyonce, that is what Beyonce will. People 20 years from now will look back and say that she had a message in that music. So it's very good. Yep, I'm very happy.
It's a beautiful album, and there's even a song called Honey Bucking on the album. I mean, it's so much fun.
What is that about? What's that?
Well, I'm going to leave that to the imagination of our listeners.
Well, since you're a music, since you got so much to say, okay, well, man, we'll listen to that during the break.
That's right.
All right, it's all good. Well, I'm loving this, and you know what? We're gonna just we're gonna go for a second. I'm gonna go listen to that. Andy, cue that up for me, Andy. When we come forward, we're gonna be right. We're gonna return. This is Areva Martin in real time, and I got Dr. Nee. Make sure you listen to him during the week. That's 1:00, and Areva Martin starts at 4. I'm on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 3 and 4, in Living in the Sweet Spot. All of this when we come forward.
She's the real deal in real time. You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
If your Medi-Cal is ending, Cover California is here to help. Cover California is a service from the state that helps you get affordable health insurance. In many cases, at no cost to you, just like with Medi-Cal. We have quality health plans, and we'll help you every step of the way to get the one that works for you and your family. So, if you're no longer eligible for Medi-Cal, check out Cover California. We'll keep you covered. Learn more at coveredca.com.
There are many healthcare organizations serving our community. Not all are dedicated to community partnerships that educate, build trust, inspire hope, and improve outcomes. Providence has a robust community outreach program and has dedicated $50 million over the next 5 years to support organizations addressing health disparities in local communities of color. Examples of this commitment include the Biddy Mason Community Wellness Center on the First AME campus, providing medical screenings, mental health therapy, nutrition, and culturally sensitive holistic classes. The Black Mamas Glow and Peer Support Group that focuses on maternal mental health, birth planning, and social support. Providence is committed to building trusted partnerships with community organizations to better understand and dismantle structural, racial, and cultural barriers to better health. During Minority Health Month, Providence is sponsoring Health for a Better World. Informative conversations with Providence health professionals on Urban Family Focus every Saturday in April at 7 a.m. To find a Providence Health System facility near you, log on to providence.org.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, home of the 2024 Climate Justice Campaign. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment through the arts. Tia Chucha Central Cultural is on a mission to transform community in the Northeast San Fernando Valley and beyond through ancestral knowledge, the arts, literacy, and creative engagement. The Northeast San Fernando Valley has a population of about 500,000, the size of the city of Oakland, yet it has no bookstores, art galleries, or full-fledged cultural spaces until Tia Chuchas opened its doors in 2001. Founded by renowned poet and activist Luis Rodriguez, Tia Chucha's Cultural Center provides a year-round free or low-cost arts and literacy bilingual intergenerational programming in mural painting, music, dance, writing, visual arts, healing art sessions, and healing talking circles. Activities also include Mexica, Aztec dance, indigenous cosmology, philosophy, and 2 weekly open mic nights, one in Spanish, the other in English. In addition, they host author readings, film screenings, and art exhibits. To express yourself, heal yourself, attend an event, or volunteer, please visit www.tiachucha.org. That's TIACHUCHA.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The way we spend our time defines who we are. You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's time I see and I miss all our secrets. So tell me how you been.
Luke Casey the boots, shake. You can hear when I step. Bought a Chevy and painted it red. Money long, it can't fit in the bed. It don't matter what nobody says. Country boy till the day that I'm dead. You want smoke, I'm the Marlboro man. Cut it out before it get out of hand. This ain't Calabasas. We don't need highways, we can take back roads. Never been riding, baby. Stepping that stirrup, hop on my saddle. Snake on my feet, they rattle. In the bag, only thing getting last. And I'm still going up like a ladder. And I'm still in the field like cattle.
Cadillac back on the road.
All right.
Take it 144. Just say what you need from the store.
Okay. All right. This is Areva Martin in real time, and I'm your host, Angelique Francis, for the day. I'm excited to be here. We got a little bit more with Dr. Nee. Thank you, Dr. Nee, for that recommendation. I know when I'm going home tonight, I'm going to be listening to this. Check it all out.
You and me both. You and me both.
I like it.
It's been heavy in rotation, and rightfully so.
I like it. I mean, you know, there's always something I love, and there's always something that I'm like, oh, I ain't old enough for that.
Well put.
It's all good. Well, let me go ahead and give a shout out to the folks on YouTube. I'm excited that they stayed in and joined us on online. I'm happy to see you guys. Thank you for being here and hanging in there with me today. And I'm excited that you are calling in from DC, of course, always, Dr. Nee. What do you have next coming up? What's happening tomorrow? Who's going to be on your show tomorrow?
Well, we always like to follow the news cycle, and so we like to always book guests that are aligned with what's happening in the news cycle because we want to get smarter, and we want to go beyond the headlines. And so one person that we'll be talking with tomorrow is Jared Bernstein. He's the chair of the White House Economic Council, and he has something to say about Black unemployment numbers. And so we want to hear it. And so we know that there are a number of folks that are saying that they don't feel the breathing room that we constantly hear the president talk about creating. They don't feel enough of that. They don't feel the positive effects of the economy. And so we're going to put some of those questions to Jared Bernstein tomorrow on A More Perfect Union at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. Of course, folks can subscribe to the More Perfect Union podcast if they can't join us live, but we're all about getting smarter and doing so unapologetically.
Okay, well, you know why I got you here. You know I'm not going to let you leave without asking you the question I always need to know. And we know it's on your playlist, but I also got to ask you, my show is Living in the Sweet Spot, so I'm always asking you about people when things are lining up, what's important and what moves you, right? So what is most important for you this year, 2024? You're lining up a lot of things in your life. What's most important for you to accomplish this year?
Well, I think the most important thing is to live boldly, and that means placing some big bets, on myself, and placing some big bets on, the people that, believe in me. And, like you, I don't take the leaders, learners, and listeners that tune in each and every day. I don't take them for granted. I don't take the viewers that I have a chance to check in with on cable from time to time. I don't take them for granted. And so have an exciting announcement. This summer I'm going to be releasing my very first book. And I get to take people on a pretty incredible journey. And so I'll share a whole lot more in a little while. But I'm really, really, really excited about that. And most importantly, just excited to be able to share. What a tremendous opportunity we have each and every day to step to this mic and hopefully say something that matters, say something that's important, say something that's consequential. That's the way I live my life. And so I'm looking forward to turning up the volume now that I'm a 40-year-old grown-up.
Wow. I'm so glad you're so grown up. I'm still growing up. so that's all good. This weekend on my show, I'm going to have Brad Johnson, the restaurateur, and I'm just wondering. I of course asked him who would be his dream dinner guest. So I'm going to ask you if you had one person that you could bring into the fold, and I see you out and about from time to time, and so I'm going to ask you if you have one person that you can invite to dinner and just sit down and have for just an amazing one-on-one dinner date. Anyone in history, who would that be?
Well, that's a really tough question because there are so many, as a student of history, there's so many folks I would love to be able to sit down and have dinner with, particularly over a tasting menu.
Okay, let's do three people at your dinner party.
Oh, wow. Okay. So the one person who comes to mind is Lenny Kravitz. I think he is extraordinary, and not just because he's a rock and roll Hall of Famer and all of that energy, but because of his longevity, not just in the business, but look at him. He's 60 years old, and he looks like he could be younger than me, right? And he doesn't look like what he's been through in terms of having lost his mom, and that was really devastating for him, but he is a very powerful demonstration of what it can look like to, really run your own race and to do so, treating people well, pouring love out into the world. And so not only is he a dinner guest that I would love to have, but he is a show guest that I would love to have. And so, Lenny, if you're listening, give me a call. would love to at least chat with you over the airwaves. But, I have enormous respect for Dr. Maya Angelou. I had a chance to meet her a few times, once when I was a senior in high school, another time when I was in college, and she never disappointed. She was so incredible. As somebody who is now a new author, I feel a special kinship to her and so many other Black authors whose shoulders I stand on. And so Dr. Maya Angelou is one of those folks. And to round it out, the third person that I would invite to this dinner would likely be, a really incredible journalist that I have looked up to for a long time, and she's still alive, Diane Sawyer.
Ooh,
I think she's an
nice.
incredible journalist. And, I've learned a lot just sort of watching how she's moved in the industry, and just the specialty programming that she's been a part of over the years that I think has made us smarter, and the heart and soul that she's been able to share through her work. And so those are the three that come to mind: Dr. Maya Angelou, Diane Sawyer, and Lenny Kravitz. Wow, wouldn't that be a dinner?
Lenny, Maya, and Diana. Oh yeah, honey, I want to be there. I will serve. I will serve that table. How about that? I love it. I love it. Thank you.
Pull up a chair, Angelique. Pull up a chair.
I love it. Thank you so much, Dr. Nee. You are amazing. You keep doing that amazing work that you do, not just you always have boots on the ground, and you do such a great job here at KBLA, but you do such a great job in everything that you do. And I'm just happy to know you. It's an honor and a pleasure not only to work with you here, but to work with you in this world. And I just thank you. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you for all that you do, Angelique. And want to remind people that it's all about what's happening in the sweet spot. So we'll be listening.
All right. This is Areva Martin in real time. I'm your host, Angelique. That was Dr. Nee. And we are happy to be here at KBLA Talk 1580, always in the sweet spot and always in real time.
I'm coming home. We've come a long way from the rough rides, from the railroads to the rodeo, sweet country home. This for my. She gone. Grab your cowboy and throw that sweet honey on her. So come with me to your life. Just talk to me all night.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. The Pentagon says Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin expressed his outrage with his Israeli counterpart